Welcome back to our channel, and thank you once again for joining us in this another episode right here on the Autistic Edge. I am Terry and Alleyne, proud autism mom, and we are here to share with you tips and tricks of how we navigate through our journey living on the Autistic Edge. Today we'll be talking about child safety in a car, and I will be sharing with you some top tips that you can use while traveling with your child in a car, especially if they are special needs, autistic, ADHD, or just simple hyperactivity. All right? Now, one of the first things we want to talk about is buckle up. Buckle up. Ensure that your child is buckled up correctly every time that the child is in the car. Now, we may say for some of our children, we know that when they get into that hyperactivity, they probably don't want to sit in the car. Now, one of the things that we need to do is to teach our children how to buckle up. It is imperative for their safety as well. So sometimes you just have to practice. Practice makes perfect. I remember at one point we couldn't get Alex to even put the belt buckle around him. That was quite a challenge. And we insisted and we insist until after a while he has actually gotten the hang of it. So once he gets in the car now and you say, Alex, put your seatbelt on, he knows exactly what to do. So teach your child how to buckle up. There are two types of belt in the car. We have the shoulder belt and we also have the lap belt. Now ensure that the child uses the appropriate belt. Now if the child is a little bit too small for the shoulder belt, and if they're in the middle of the back of some of the vehicles, we'll have the lap belt. Right now, I will talk to you a little bit about car seats when I get to that topic. Ensure that the child remains properly seated and buckled up for the entire journey as best as possible. Now, when traveling long distances with children, try to take a restroom break, or just try to take a break. Pull over somewhere safe and let them stretch their legs so that they don't get too frustrated or want to pull the belt off because the journey might be too long. So take a break if you're traveling long distance. It is safer for the child to ride in the back seat of the car until they are at least 13 years old, at least. Okay, if a child is on the spectrum or they has a disability, they tend to be very disruptive, and of course front seat is a no-no. Keep them in the back seat, please. These children are unpredictable and we can't take any chances whatsoever. So it's safer, use the back seat for the child. Number 3, keep loose objects secured. Now, from time to time, you may travel with smaller children, whether they're on the spectrum or not. These tips are really for any child, as a matter of fact, not only for the ones on the spectrum, but pay close attention for the ones who are more special needs, right? Now, loose objects in a car can become projectiles. And in the event of an accident, you know what that can be. Sometimes you may have children, they get a little bit angry or they agitated and they just throw things in the car. So keep loose objects packed away in the car. You may want to travel with toys or small items to keep your children occupied on the journey so they don't get bored. So you may want to take along their favorite toys with them, which is very good, but make sure that the toys are safe for traveling. Nothing pointed to damage your seat or to damage themselves if we should get into an accident. Make sure that it's something safe for traveling, right? Use more comfortable toys. You may want to use their tablet. We allow Alex to use his tablet. Well, Alex only has 2 toys, his tablet and his Ziploc bags. Those are pretty much safe enough to have while he's traveling. So choose the toys wisely. If they have favorite toys, choose the safest toy, not one that will become any, endangerment or such while they are driving. Another thing that you can do, keep snacks close by in the car for the children, because sometimes, by having the snack, that can also engage them. You can also have little activities for them to do while they travel. So if you have like a lap table, so we have a lap table that we use, right, from time to time in our car, and that lap table is placed over the child legs in the car. So what you find is you can put your stuff on that table, so they can do little activities like coloring or little activities. No sharp objects, preferably no sharp objects. If children are much bigger and are able to handle themselves, they might be able to do that, but I would advise avoid sharp objects while you're driving. So they can probably use more like their crayons, so you can have them do a little coloring, and that kind of occupy their time as well in the car. As you go along, you can play little games, like sing-along games. You're happy and you clap your hands and some stuff like that. Do little activities in the car where you can engage the child, because by engaging them, sometimes keep them preoccupied, so they are less concentrated on miserableness or distraction that may affect them. All right, use sealed cups or bottles while traveling. Now, this is to avoid spill. So if you have something warm or too cold or whatever it is, to try to avoid unnecessary distraction to the driver, especially if you are traveling with the children alone. It's best to use the sippy cups, the no spill ones, of course, so that if they fall or anything in the car, then create a mess that will distract the driver, right? So that's also a good one to have. Never, never, never leave your child unattended in the car for no period of time. It's recommended, don't do it for a short period of time. I would say leave them unattended in the car, no period of time, none at all. A child can become overheated very quickly when the car is locked, and that they can suffer from heat stroke by doing that. Now, they can also have quick respiratory issues from the lack of oxygen that you'll have in the car, because when that car is locked tight and it is hot, that's not a good feeling. Always check the car temperature before placing the child in the car. Just check to ensure that it's not too hot, especially if you have also leather seats and all of that. Make sure you check. Once it's too hot, try to get the car cooled down, wind down the windows and turn on your AC for a little bit. Just get the car cooled to a good, at least body temperature, before you place the child in the car. Touch the seats and also the seat belts. Those metal particles on the seat belt can be dangerous, because they can get very hot at times when you leave the car in the sun for a long period. Number 5, ensure that your car windows and doors are locked at all times when the car is in motion. Tell you a little bit about the window. Most of the newer model vehicles, they have the window locks on the driver door. So what you ensure you do, once the child is in the car, you're seated, everything is okay, you check that you are properly buckled up and all of that, make sure you press that window lock. And what it does really, it keeps especially the back windows, and I think the front ones as well, probably it's the driver one alone that you are able to wind down while the car is in motion, but all the other windows, the passengers will not be able to operate them from their doors. Now, this will prevent the child from pulling down the window, putting their hands out or even their heads, or even throwing objects through the window. And it is for their safety. Nobody can push their hand in from outside. So always keep your windows closed. Also always keep the windows locked. Now for the doors, you have the child lock. Once you're traveling with your child, ensure that the child locks are on at all times. Now, we had a very, near accident experience once with Alex Xavier. We were in one of my friend's car. I was sitting in the back with him. Now we get so used to my car where once you put the car in drive, then the car doors are automatically locked. But the child lock wasn't on this one. And Alex just opened the door at the blink of an eye and was just about to step out. Of course, I was right there in the back of the car. So swift and quick, the motherly instinct would have grabbed him, shut the door and everything. So good thing we never had an accident, but that was a lesson that I have learned. Any car that you're going in with him, always check to ensure that the child lock is on, especially if you have to put him close to the door or he's in the back of the car by himself. Now, for most of the time, he's gonna be in the back of the car by himself because he's traveling with one or the other parent. Now, there is an additional feature that I want to share with you. You may find this on some of your cars. Most of the newer cars, you can adjust the settings in terms of how your doors are locked. I'm not sure about the windows, I'm sure about the door. Now, this example I'm going to show you here is this car. We actually adjust the settings so that the door automatically locks when you put it in drive. Now, as you see right there, the car is about to move. We put the car in drive, yes, and the door automatically locks once the car is pulled into the drive setting. Now, you can have that setting adjust in your car. Check with your manufacturer, and that is I like this feature because the other option that you have there is when the car drives off, probably up to around 20 kilometers. At that speed, the doors will automatically lock. So as you see here, right, all right, so the car is now driving out, and as you can see, we drive, all right, so we are now at about 20 kilometers, right, and once you get to 20 kilometers, the doors will always lock. It varies from car to car depending on the manufacturer, but that's the standard. With the newer vehicles, you drive a particular speed, then the door automatically locks. For the older type vehicle, you may find that you will have to lock the door yourself, so it may not be. Now, pay attention to these different options that you have for your safety. So if you have one of the older type vehicle, you are going to have to depend on your memory for your safety. You're going to have this like a checklist. Okay, I need to have the child lock on, I need to lock the door, I need to wind up the window. If you have one of the newer type vehicles, that will automatically lock as you drive off. However, remember the child lock. And if you have one of the other vehicles where you can check the settings like mine, drop the car in drive, the door automatically locks. I don't have to remember to lock the door, or I don't have to wait until I reach to certain kilometers for the door to be locked. All right, now another one, I just want to give this one as an added bonus for those who are traveling with smaller children. Ensure that you are using the right car seat for your child. The car seat must be appropriate for the child's age, for his height, and for his weight. Follow the manufacturer's instructions and ensure that the seat belt is installed correctly, right? The car seat should be secured to the car using the seat belt or the latch system. So don't just put the car seat in the car and just depend on it to catch. and that is not good at all. All right. Make sure that while the child is in the car seat, that the child is also fastened by the belt on the car seat. So you have the child safety lock for the car seat, and then you have the other one that comes over the child car seat. So make sure follow the manufacturer's instruction. The car seats are built differently. They are built in different shape. They are built in different sizes depending on your child. Smaller baby, you have the smaller seats, and as they grow up, you have the bigger seat. Then you have the booster seat. That's when they are out of the car seat, but yet still they are still small enough and need to remain in a seat. So you have them in the booster seat. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's instruction in using these different seats. Now, for those persons who did not know, your car seat should be front facing until the child is at least 2 years old, or until they reach the desired weight and height as recommended by the manufacturer. Now, of all things, what I want to say to parents, last but not least, be a good role model when it comes to the safety for your child. You need to practice the things as well. So once you get in the car, check for all your safety rules and regulations that you should have in place. You practice and the child will follow. We as parents, we are the best teachers for our children. So always wear your seatbelt. The child will follow suit, or make sure too that they follow suit. Obey the traffic laws and be a good role model for your child. When it comes to road safety, it starts with you. Now, by following these tips, you can ensure that you are safe, the child is safe, the family is safe, and other road users are also safe. With that said, thank you once again for joining us in this another episode of Living on the Autistic Edge. And guess what? Don't forget to smash that like button down there. Don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you share it with someone who needs to know. We are talking about safety on the autistic edge, but this safety is good for the entire family. So please share, please subscribe, and see you next time right here on the Autistic Edge.